For the Haters presents Wallet Therapy. I'm Becky, the spender.
And I'm Alex, the coach. We give money advice for the everyday person. So join us with your budget and your baggage because money doesn't have to be messy forever. Search For the Haters and subscribe today.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to Wallet Therapy. This is going to be a new series under For the Haters where myself and Alex come together and take my professional background of overspending and take Alex's professional background of financial coaching, and we bring you guys the information that you've been asking for. I know a lot of people listen to Karma and Chaos. I talk about my financial journey there. And so we're just doing this so that we can better help everyday people get a hold of their finances. Because it's not like we're all out here trying to play with the stock market. We're just trying to survive, right? So I'm going to give Alex the floor to introduce herself. Be nice. This is my sister, and I will fight anyone. No, I'm just kidding. But Alex, I'm excited. We're here. We're doing something. So let everyone know who you are.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex, and I'm a financial coach. And so I have been helping the average person for about a decade and even longer when it comes to helping out family and friends before that. And it has ranged from everything from how do I set a budget to how do I get out of debt to am I ready to retire? Do I have enough money? How much money do I need? And it's been a really great journey to see people improve their finances. There's so much stress that comes with finances. It's been ranked like the number one above like job stress, above relationship stress. Financial stress is most people's number one stressor. And it's been really great to help people out of that.
I know that when I'm in a worse financial position, my relationship suffers because of the stress. Like it's all just mixed with each other. I am a bad spender. Historically, I have spent above my means. I have put myself into really bad credit card debt. I've put myself into taking out personal loans, doing all the things, consolidating my debt, but then constantly spending on those credit cards. So I'm excited to have this balance of I'm you, right? Like if you're listening and you're like I don't even understand finances, like I am you as a person. And that's why I think that this will be just beneficial for people to listen to because I live in that experience as well. I am doing really good right now. And we'll probably throughout these episodes, we'll talk about my journey and how like Alex has helped me, but I can just relate so much to that. Like I can like vividly remember laying in bed, like playing online gambling. I had to stop online gambling, by the way. And just messing like I was making a lot of money and then I lost the money I made. And then I was just so stressed. I didn't even lose money. I just lost the money that I made. And I was so stressed because I could have done so much. Anyway, I digress. But from a personal, so Alex and I are the youngest of 5. So it's me and then Alex. We are the closest in age. We've had a really great relationship. We've had our personal struggles of relationship as well. But I'm just really excited to be doing this with you and allowing people kind of insight even into our family, right? Like because our family is a huge reason of the whys behind this. Do you want to touch on just like why money is important to you?
Yeah. And before I get into that too, I'm really excited for us to co-host together because I think that our strengths and weaknesses when it comes to this, like I naturally am more of a logical, analytical thinker, which is probably what got me so into finances starting young. But I think for most people, finances are very emotional. And so I think if during the course of this podcast, if I get too far into the numbers, into the weeds, you'll be there to just pull me back to reality and help relate a little bit more with all the listeners.
And even finding a balance too, because I'm a person that's like, fuck it, just do it.
Yeah.
And we're all gonna die anyway. So
Yeah, I don't know that I get behind the YOLO strategy of finances, and we'll probably get into that during an episode. But
Yeah. Any lived like what your lived experience of just like your financial journey of why like this is so important to you now?
yeah, I was thinking about this getting ready for today and trying to remember like when did money really become a thing for me, like something I was interested in. And it goes back till I was young, like young. I can remember getting birthday cards or having birthday parties and only asking for money. Like I didn't want anything else. And I wanted the money because I wanted to put it in a bank. So it's for me, some part of it, I think, was I was born with it.
Mhm.
And then as I became an adult, that's when it really I was able to see how at first I thought money was power, and then I realized money is actually empowerment and freedom. So for me, when I was a little bit of a rebel in high school and I was getting grounded a lot, I had this thought in my head, well, I saved up and I bought my first car and I pay for my car insurance. So that can't be taken away from me because those things are mine. And that's where like the power thought came,
Mhm.
which like is ridiculous because I was living with our parents and they could just be like, okay, well, you can not live with us and have your car and you won't be grounded. But yeah, and so when it really became real to me and when I realized the empowerment and the freedom was helping family and friends with their journeys. So that probably started like early 20s, mid 20s. And I think I've helped like 6 family members through end of life planning. And that's when it really made me realize how long money is needs to be a plan because all of a sudden you're at end of life and there's this burden that's been put on family members because the resources you have is what's going to help take care of you, and that's really heavy to leave on your family, and not only heavy to leave on your family but for your own quality of life to have better options, to have in-home care. And then that really trickled in like, okay, well, how do I prepare for that so I don't do that to my family? And then that led me all the way down into like, I need to start preparing now. Like, I need to start saving and doing the right things now because as you'll see once we get into some of the episodes about like how do I start saving, what goals should I have to save, the best thing you have with money is time. Because there's this thing, and we'll get into it, but compounding interest is a magical thing. So if you're somebody who's trying to save, the more time you have, the better you are.
Hmm. I have such a fun we have it's so funny because we live such different lives and we have such different perspectives, but we were raised in the same under the same roof. And it's just like I'm just want to make sure people understand the drastic like difference in us. And not from like a personality perspective. I think that we probably have a lot of similarities there, but like Alex's house is filled with nothing. Like my house is filled with like every trinket, every memory, every or a rock that I found interesting on the ground is sitting in my house somewhere. Um
Yeah, I think you could probably tell just by our offices.
yeah.
I was thinking I might need like a sign or something just to make it look like I actually decorate, but
Yeah, but you don't. That and like the goal isn't to be either of us. I think the goal is to help you guys find like your own personal goals as well, right? Like finding what makes sense for you because we're definitely on the like complete opposite, but that's what makes this work. To speak to a little bit of what Alex said about just, our family is like a huge aspect of why we are who we are and what we've done with our money. Alex took it one way and I kind of went the other way, but for those that might be listening that don't know me at all, but our father suffered from dementia, a rare form of dementia, which led to just a lot of medical necessities and just medical conversations, which then led to bills and care. So for the past 10 years, Alex has been navigating the financial aspect with my parents and helping them get through and get by. And just unfortunately, they weren't set up to be able to do the things that wouldn't have made it easier, right? If they had money, the care would have been easier. My dad's care was great because of my mom, but that burden was put on her because of the financial situation that my dad put them in. So we have a lot of passion about making sure that, especially people with kids, and people not that are listening might not necessarily have kids, but that's what I think of now is how am I setting myself up so no one else has to take care of me, and I'm doing the right things to kind of get there. So our
Yeah, and
parents
we're
have
we're gonna
influenced us significantly.
And we're gonna start to like that seems maybe for most people like the last thing they're worried about, like how do I set up for that
For
end of
sure.
life care? And that's not the only thing we'll talk about. We're gonna start at the beginning of just,
Yeah.
what is a budget?
And literally, and my mindset now is that, but I had to get out of 100K plus of debt to be able to even start remotely thinking about that. So
Yeah.
I've been through this shit of it all, but we're in a good place. For a lot of people, just saying that word budget makes people's like stomach flip. Makes my like I honestly think that I have room for improvement from a budget perspective, a budget perspective as well. Why do you think it's so hard for people to just look at numbers?
I think it brings up a lot of emotion. I think there's a lot of guilt. I think there's a lot of shame, and people don't want to face that. I
Yeah.
think that if it's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind self-preservation tactic where if I don't look at it, I don't have to remember maybe bad financial decisions I made that gave me 20 grand on a credit card in debt. And you don't have to face it and you don't have to do anything about it because out of sight, out of mind,
Mhm.
which is something that I'm hoping we can flip the script on during this season because that's the first step, really, is just knowledge is power, is understanding and being able to take that next step and take the courage to look at what's going on.
This first episode is really just us setting up for what's next, right? The lessons are going to come in the future. But one thing I want to make sure that everyone understands is that this is a judgment-free zone. There are decisions and financial decisions that I'm not proud of, and that's why I think this conversation is important because I am a vulnerable person. I am, a glass door into my life, so I'm here to open up those vulnerabilities about myself to hopefully make sure that other people feel comfortable as well here. And there's no questions that are too small. There's no ask that is too small. And so we're hoping to just build a community here that we can just empower, right? Like empower the everyday person to get to that next step. So you talk a lot about money stories, right? It sounds fancy, but what does that look like when I'm standing at a checkout line in Target?
That looks like understanding yourself, really. If you're at a Target line and you're hungry, you've left the house and you're starving, and now you're in Target and you're gonna be buying foods that you probably don't need. Are you at home bored and you just decided, "Hey, I'm gonna go to Target because I have nothing better to do." So, understanding what those triggers are that's leading you to maybe go on Amazon and just mindlessly buy things or run to the store because you're sad and you need to feel better, and shopping is that trigger for you, and it's something that improves your mood. I think there was a study done, and 47% of people actually say that they use retail therapy as a method to boost their mood. So
Mhm.
that's something to be aware of yourself so that you can start changing behaviors and getting ahead of those triggers.
I myself have been hungry shopping and have spent way too much money because if I would have eaten before I went to go food shopping, it would have solved a lot of issues for me. So, I think I can relate and understand that there are triggers for people of, like, where the spending comes from, but, like, but then on the other side, there is spending that's out of necessity, right? Like,
Yeah,
your
of course.
bills to eat in general,
Yeah.
to get from point A to point B for work or, responsibilities or school, whatever that looks like. And then we've also talked about, like, different kind of money personalities as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So are you where you're a little more of a hoarder? Or um are you a spender? Are you an avoider? So again, understanding like who you are as a person can help you change those behaviors and put guardrails in place to be able to plan what to do with your money and prevent those unnecessary spends.
Yeah. What is step 1, right? Like, I know that a budget is important, but, like, what is the step 1 someone stepping into the world of, "Let me get control of my finances." What is step 1 for someone?
Yeah, so I'd really love to bring up actually a recent question that I got from one of my clients, which is I really want to get my life together, but every time I even look at my bank account, I literally get a stomach ache. It's been months since I checked my balance. What is the first step when you're too paralyzed to even look? So I know this is the scary part. This is a vulnerable part to taking that first step. And it really is don't worry about a budget at this point. Don't worry about spreadsheets, which we're going to avoid. Just literally open whatever the bank account is that you use, whether it's a checking account, a credit card, maybe it's both, and just look at the last 7 days of spending. That's it. Just spend 10 minutes, open your phone, open your computer, look at your bank account, and just review the last 7 days of spending. And that's it. That is the first step to opening up this money journey and healing the money journey.
And do it with grace, right? Like, don't go in there and look at it and start, hounding yourself or being deprecating of, like, what those look like, what that looks like, because we're healing with grace.
Yeah.
Yes, we are
Yeah.
healing money with grace.
Yeah, don't judge yourself. Don't just all we're looking for, just open it and look at it. And just like Becky said, give yourself grace. Try to do it when you're feeling good, so you're on a high, and just open it and look at it, and that's it. And then close it because it's going to be the first step. This journey is not going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
And it's important. The hardest part is taking the first step, really, with anything.
And also with that, we want to make sure that we're including feedback from you all that are listening, or if you have questions that you might have, we would love to hear question, and you could submit questions that we can bring up on episodes, or maybe it is that you give a specific scenario. Of course, we can keep people anonymous. So if you're listening and you want to submit a question or submit, right, like the situation that you're in, and how Alex would suggest taking those first steps of getting out of it, you can just email us at info@forthehaters.com, and we will do our best to see how we can use those here and help your scenarios to help other people too. Because everyone has their own journey that they're going through. And if we can shed light into others' journey, I really truly believe that we can help others that might be in that same situation. We keep talking about why doing that one tiny little thing, which can feel huge, it just automatically will break that cycle of avoidance. And that is the most important. Some of you might not have that avoidance. Like some of you might others, step one might be different, but for a lot of people, there's that avoidant factor. I know for me, I spent a long time. Once I got into credit card debt, it was like, oh, it didn't matter anymore because I was already there. Like I have credit card debt, it'll stay there. And then I just avoided it because like I was going to pay my monthly fee and just keep spending on my credit card because that was the cycle that I was in.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're gonna get into that deeper in the next episode on budgeting too, because just because you make one slip up doesn't mean you should blow the whole week or the month. That's okay. Mistakes are gonna happen and nobody's perfect. My money journey isn't perfect. And so just keep moving forward and don't let one mistake, don't let even like the 7-day scan uh, get you down to affect tomorrow's money decisions.
Mhm.
The other thing about having listeners give their questions at the same time, it'll help us learn like what is everybody interested in learning about. We have an idea of what the next 10 episodes topics are going to be, but I'd love to hear from the listeners too what is most important to them so we can make sure that those topics get discussed first.
What kind of topics do we have on deck? Just so that there's some insight into the future and it might spark some ideas for people.
So we have coming up budgeting and why it feels like a punishment and how do we fix that? Breaking the paycheck to paycheck cycle, financial anxiety and why it's real, money and marriage. So this one will be all about relationships. You don't have to be married to have money problems, but that one will be interesting. And debt guilt and the shame spiral. And it won't just be about the emotional side. We are going to put in, that's kind of why I'm here. We're going to put in some actionable next steps of ways to start budgeting, ways to start getting out of debt. We'll also talk about emergency funds and maybe even get into midlife money freakouts and start talking about, I don't like to use the word retirement, but that's the category it'll fall into. I like to say financial freedom.
We are all on the road to financial freedom. Yeah, again, I know that I probably sound like a broken record. I just feel for me, it was really freeing to finally start taking ownership and understanding of my finances and having myself put in a direction that I'm no longer, don't want to say completely no longer spending over my means because I still dabble in my fun. But, whether we're catching you in the beginning of your life, right? Like in your early 20s, or we're catching you where we're at in this midlife place of things are changing and like the world is changing and things are more expensive and we need to be more mindful of how we're spending our money and just we want to help to make it that your finances aren't your top stress driver, and we want to give you the tools to get there.
And it's never too late to start your money journey.
Yeah, literally. I was 30 when I started taking my finances more seriously. And that's even like it at any point. You could be 50 years old listening to this. You could be 60 years old listening to this. Like
I have clients that are in their 50s and 60s. So it doesn't matter. Changing and starting to heal your money story at any point is going to help reduce that stress. It's going to help set you up later in life. Even at 60, you still have potentially 40 years to live. My goal is to live till 120, so I need to prepare for that.
It's wild. She's not just saying that right now. She's said that forever.
Yeah.
And like hiding your money issues is just going to make this like that monster bigger, right? Like let's all face it together. Like you don't have to face this alone. Like use us, and we are going to be building a more private community too on Patreon. We'll be doing like a monthly meeting with everyone. Those of you that don't know, I just had a kid. Alex just had a kid, 3 months apart. This is a passion for her as well as like a way to help people, and we want to be able to help more people, and I think we can do that with live meetings, and so we're gonna be able to do that there. You aren't taking on more clients, right? Like outside.
No, and this is actually why I know we've been toying around with this idea of doing a financials podcast for quite some time. And I'm finally at a place with my coaching business that I don't have capacity to take on any new clients. And I want to continue to help people. I don't want to turn people away because I know how impactful it can be to their life. So now getting to direct them to this is amazing. Like I'm excited to share that with my community.
Yeah, so make sure all information will be on my website. So beckyhader.com. We'll put all the information there. We'll do like monthly meetings where we can talk about the topics at hand that we discussed this week. You can bring your questions, for Alex, and we can really just set up this group and community where we're helping each other either stay on track or giving people advice, things that we're learning throughout our money journey as well. Like I just said, we just talked about how I just had a kid and Alex had a kid. We'll be able to talk about that experience as well. I know everyone's not parents, but I'm doing what I can now to make sure to help set up for my future with having a child. And that's important. I've talked about this on Karma and Chaos of, you know, I just opened up a brokerage account. We'll talk about those investments too. That's not the first step in your money journey. That is probably that last step. So, but I know that everyone listening is in a different place in their money journey. So we want to make sure that we're kind of taking everyone along for that ride. So you could start at episode 1 and then continue and just build your knowledge and build your understanding of what money looks like.
Yeah, and I'll do my best to really simplify when we get into the weeds because we will need to get into the weeds on some like financial terms like 529 plans, IRA, Roth first, traditional, brokerage accounts. I am going to do my best to simplify all that and break it down so everybody can understand what that means and apply different scenarios because what's right for one person is not going to be right for every person. Just because I help Becky and we set up a brokerage account for Bex, that doesn't mean that's the best decision for everybody else listening. It's really based on her financial story that she has going on today. And that's why that was the best direction for her.
Wow. Thanks, Alex, for being here.
Thanks for doing this. I'm really excited to finally be here and be talking about money stuff.
And if you guys are questioning, if you're watching this and you're like, are they actually sisters? We are full-blooded sisters. So we look nothing alike. But that's it for our first session of wallet therapy. If you survive this episode, you are already doing great. You aren't doing this alone. We have a community that we're going to start here. We will talk more about that, in the episodes moving forward. We really are just building a foundation to set everyone up for success and to not be embarrassed by whatever debt that you're in. I have had over 100K plus of debt that I am continuously actively working out of. And if yours is more than that, it's more than that. So we are in this together. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, make sure to follow. Hopefully the Patreon is set up by the time this is out. If you are interested in joining that more private group that gets access to us and gets access to a community that we can talk about this in person in virtual meetings every month. Next time, we're talking about the real cost of not budgeting. And spoiler, it's not just about the money. So, Alex, any last words from you?
Subscribe. New episodes are dropping every other week. So,
Good call out.
yeah.
Every other Thursday, we will be dropping new episodes.
Yeah. And remember, give yourself grace, do the 7-day scan. That's your homework item. And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys next time.